So our journey together started in 2018 when Algebra invested in your startup, POSRocket. At the time, I think we led your Series A, and we also co-led your Series B, and we're together on that journey until you sold the business to Foodix in 2021.
And I think the journey started in 2017, where I first pitched to Algebra, and I got rejected because it was a little bit too early, but I did not lose hope. I kept going, I grew the company, I came back and made sure that I wanted to get Algebra on board because I was very focused on the Egyptian market and I wanted the best VC in Egypt as well. So I got what I wanted.
And that's right, this is actually the second company that you've sold. Both companies were focused on the F&B industry, on providing technology solutions for the F&B industry. Exits in both cases to fairly large companies. So maybe just give us a quick recap.
I spotted a problem with cashier systems in restaurants. This is where I jumped directly into the second venture, which was POSRocket, a cloud-based point-of-sale system that serves restaurants. And started the journey in 2016 until 2021 when we sold the company to our first and biggest competitor, Foodix.
And just to provide context for viewers, POSRocket was basically providing a suite of management tools for small and medium restaurant owners.
Correct, yes.
And I think at the time of your sale, you had a footprint in 3 countries.
Correct.
With significant penetration in Egypt, Jordan, your home market, obviously, and Saudi Arabia.
And Kuwait.
And Kuwait as well.
Yes.
So in both of those instances, you had an exit that took place relatively quickly. Obviously, 5 years is a long time. You started POSRocket in 2016 and sold in 2021. But at least as far as exits go, it's a relatively short time span from inception to exit. I think your first business you sold in even less time than that.
4 years, 4.5 years.
So about the same time. Do you have a framework for thinking about when to exit and how to exit? What sort of mental model do you use for thinking about exits?
You have to identify when the opportunity comes. And it really depends, like every company, like that you have an opportunity to sell the company at that time, there's a reason why you want to sell as well. For POSRocket, I think you were also part of the decision on why we want to sell. The company was sort of like in a cash burning business. So we had to keep burning cash to continue growing because we had operations on the ground. So COVID...
And a fairly extensive sales operation.
It's a very high touch sales model. So we actually, COVID came, we really had a bad few months, then we picked up and we wanted to raise another round of funding after like a pre-Series B or Series B. So all late stage investors in the region, they either invested in Foodix or not interested in the business model, or at least 90% of them, because I spoke to all of them.
And just to provide a little bit more context and also as a testament to your resilience, the F&B industry was probably one of the most affected industries by COVID. And you were selling into a segment of small and medium restaurant chains, I think with a focus on dine-in and maybe quick service as well.
Correct.
But the point is that segment churned like crazy when COVID hit, or at least put things on hold.
Yeah, we had over 90% drop in revenue. We looked at the restaurants because we can see how much revenue they're making as an aggregate. We had a more than 90% drop, which means the restaurants were really affected. So that's why in that period, because also we couldn't tell what's next. Is it going to recover? Is it not going to recover? If you remember those days, so it was a tough period. So after we raised that round, and we had also some conditions that we need to get so we can get the full amount. So we had to raise a bigger round of funding. So we had a competitor that I heard they were raising also at that time $100 million. So restaurants saw more than 90% drop in their sales during that period. So technically they were closed, shut down. So that's why it was a tough period for the industry. But luckily we managed to close the round of funding.
Not just luckily. I think you probably were able to navigate some of the most challenging circumstances to ever face the company. You had sort of investors coming into the round and then pulling out because the outlook wasn't so rosy anymore. You had a lot of discussions around valuation and the viability of returns, etc. And yet, despite all of that, I think you reshuffled the company's cash position to give you the runway to be able to close the round. And you successfully closed the round, and I think that's a big testament to your resilience as an entrepreneur.
Thank you. And you're going back to also the point where I think you remember we closed the round, and then we started thinking, okay, now we have runway for the next 18 months, so let's start thinking about the next step. And at that time, I remember I spoke to the majority of late-stage investors. They were either not interested in the business model, or they're already investors in our competitor, FoodX. So it will be a little bit harder to actually raise the next round of funding, and this is where we, as a board, decided to started proactively looking for strategic investors. So not the typical venture capital funding, and that's when we actually put a list. I remember, and FoodX was one of the companies on the list, but we never approached them because I did not want to be in a weaker position approaching my competitor, because I had runway, and that was one of the options that we were going through. So
and Zeid, if I can interject here, I think that was one of the smartest sort of decisions, to not wait until you had 6 months of runway to initiate this process, but actually approaching potential buyers shortly after closing your Series B funding, which gave you the ability to reorganize the company with a view to eventually selling it, but also gave you the leverage in negotiations to be able to extract the best possible deal under the circumstances.
So, and that's probably going back, took us long to answer, but that's why we decided to sell also POSRocket at that time. So there was a reason. So if I go back in time and tell me, would you do the same thing again? And the answer would be yes, I will do the same thing again, because at that time it was rational to do it. It made sense to proactively look for it, and this time I can say we were lucky because FoodX approached us. We never talked to them. We never approached them. So they approached us at that same timing, and we were ready. So when they came, we already spoke about this. We were ready. So things were. And
you had multiple other conversations taking place already.
At the same time, we had probably another offer from another company, which we leveraged, and I think that's the best position to be in, to have multiple offers, to try and get the best outcome, and not to be, as you said, cornered with a short runway as well.
So you sold the company, you generated some liquidity for yourself, you had a little bit of breathing room, and you joined FoodX as one of the senior executives. Talk us a little bit through the post-merger integration. The conventional theory is most mergers actually fail for a variety of reasons, but maybe give us your perspective on whether 1 + 1 became 3, or if the outcome was different.
I think you were spot on. It was very, very difficult to integrate two companies together. Yet, before we agreed to do the acquisition, I sat with the executive team at FoodX, and I made sure that we have this chemistry, synergies, common strategy, common vision for the company, and this we ticked all the boxes. And I honestly, during the process, we encountered few scenarios where they could have taken advantage of certain situations, but they didn't. They were like decent people. So that really made me more comfortable in joining the company. And I just want to talk quickly on why because as we said, we had multiple options to either like sell the company fully at maybe at a lower valuation, but I had no risk, so it was full cash. And Fudix was also an option, and we had an option maybe to continue raising funds. So that option never ended. So we thought, reaching a strategic is a better option, but we never closed the door at raising funds for the next year. So I had three options. So Fudix was for me the most exciting option because I did want to get out of my comfort zone. So I was in Jordan all my life. I wanted to, be thrown in a new country, new environment. I wanted to make connections in a different country. So that part was exciting to me. And at that time, also Fudix was planning to list the company in the public market to go IPO. And I wanted that experience. So I've never been exposed to how to list the company, etc. So probably that would have been exciting to see the full journey. And as I told you, there was like this chemistry between me and the team as well. So the acquisition happened. They were raising Series C, all right? And they had, it happened like in December 2021. So they were like very aggressive on hitting the year-end targets, and the acquisition happened at the same time. So those three for a company to handle is definitely too much. So we tried as much as possible to, we had three offices, office in Jordan, office in Kuwait, office in Egypt. So Fudix had offices in the UAE and Saudi and Egypt. So Jordan and Kuwait, we had no issues because there is no team for Fudix, no teams to integrate. It's just like the team of POSRocket converting into Fudix. You just need to onboard them, etc. And the team in Egypt, this is where we had probably the biggest issue there, because we had two teams competing on the ground. It's never easy to integrate two teams competing and tell them, okay guys, now you are one. So that was challenging. We tried as hard as possible to create positions for everyone, and we managed to send, like as Fudix, to send offers to POSRocket employees. We were 117 at that time to 114 employees because they were hiring. So everyone got offers, and everyone even got increase on their salaries. So it was a good motivation for everyone. But not everyone got the title they want, not everyone got the position they want. So that's where it created sort of, I don't want to say a chaos, but not everyone got whatever they wanted. So the team in Egypt, they were like the first team to start resigning and finding other opportunities because they did not get what they want in terms of position and title. And I totally understand this. And it was expected. But then we started working together, migrating the two companies. And the most important thing, like in each migration, you have three main things: people, customer, and product. Product, we decided that we will take few modules from POSRocket and then leave Fudix as the main product because we compared the two products. People, we did that, and it was the most challenging. And customers, we also agreed on a plan to migrate the customers from POSRocket to Fudix. And this took so long, I think for one reason that we failed to do. We had no one accountable from Fudix and incentivized to actually make sure that this transition happens smoothly. So they had their own targets. Country managers, they had their own salespeople. So putting on top of their plate an acquisition, which probably they're not incentivized to do, I think that was a mistake that we did. So probably if they had maybe a commission, incentive in any way for them to be involved in the process. So we got stuck for like a few months to try and figure out what's the best way to migrate the customers. Probably this left customers hanging. Some of them were upset. So this is where I think we failed a bit, and we could have done a better job. But of course, we learn as we go. We did not get any external party to help us or tell us what to do. But looking now 1 year after we did the acquisition, Fudix managed to close Series C $170 million instead of they were targeting to close $100 million. So they closed because of the acquisition and the impact it did. They managed to close almost double the amount they were hoping for. And answering the question, 1 + 1 = 3, and now FoodX is the biggest and most dominant cloud-based point of sale in the region, with over 25,000 locations in the region. So that really helped in the story. And we also made sure that all our customers are now currently migrated to FoodX and enjoying all the suite of FoodX.
So the company raises $170 million, I think, led by Sequoia. So another
Sequoia, Process, Sanabel, yeah. Good, excellent
great
investors.
suite of investors. You're in the C-suite of FoodX. The company's starting to achieve economies of scale. You're working your way through the post-merger integration issues. And yet, here we are a year later, and I believe you just made the decision to leave FoodX. So talk us through that.
So I actually joined FoodX again for the reasons that I mentioned. And 2 months or 3 months after I joined, I knew I was going to be an employee. So I knew that fact, but I thought it would have been easier on me personally. But honestly, I struggled on a personal level being an employee. I saw things that I wanted to change fast, I couldn't, and I'm probably working 11 years in a certain dynamic and then jumping and trying to be an employee was not the best or easiest experience for me. And I thought 2-3 months is too early for me to decide, so I kept going and going and going. But the more I kept going, the more I realized that I can't be an employee anymore, honestly. I was empowered, the guys were, I had everything that I needed, but being an employee means not taking the last shots as fast as I can or in the pace that I want. So this is where I personally struggled, and I felt I was being disengaged, a little bit demotivated. And this is where I took the decision that I can't be passive, so let me take a break and leave FoodX, and I left on very, very good terms, and I still have the majority of my shares with FoodX, and I really hope and try as much as possible for this company to keep growing. But I left, and I think that's also a decision that I took, and now I'm thinking of what's next for me.
Which brings us to the $1 million question. What's next for you?
It is actually the $1 million question. When I decided to leave, I actually made sure that I wanted to take a break. So I did not want to think of what's next. I wanted to take a break because I went to Saudi, I did not take my family with me, so it was like a year where going back and forth. So I came back, it's been 2 months. It's actually the most amazing 2 months that I had, where I could sleep at night, no payroll to pay towards the end of the month, and trying to take advantage of this time to spend more time with the kids, to try to wind down. It's a good period, and I just recently started thinking of what I will be doing next. And honestly, I knew there are like 2 paths. I will either have a third startup, or get into the other side of the bench, where into the venture capital side of things. And I'm trying to think of impact as well. Where can I have bigger impact here and there? So if it's a startup, it should have like a big impact on the region. If it's a VC, then also I'm keeping the impact side of things in the decision that I make. But honestly, I still don't have like a strong decision towards where I'm going. Hopefully soon I will figure it out.
Well, if you decide to start another company, Algebra gets first dibs.
Thank you. Speaking of Algebra, it's I wanted to get Algebra on board because usually when you look for investors, for me you look for 2-3 things. First is smart money, so how they can add value to your business. And the most important thing is if there is chemistry or not with the partners. So with Algebra, because when I first pitched, I saw that there is chemistry, and I think, this VC firm will add a lot of value since also we'll be in Egypt, and I wanted to get Algebra on board. Very important thing is usually you would find the relationship in anything. When things are rosy and nice, everyone is happy. But when things go south, I think the true essence of that human being will show. And this is why you need real supporters on your side, because the road is never rosy. It's always ups and downs. So you need people who will support you in both cases. And I think this is what not speaking in front of you, but I always do behind your back as well. I think that's one of the great things about Algebra, because they participated in Series A, even the bridge, Series B, so they kept supporting us in every way possible during our ups and downs. And the best thing also that happened is I never felt that I'm not in control. Although we had probably weekly, bi-weekly calls, you were very involved in the business, but I never felt that you are in control or you're actually telling me what to do in any certain way. So you have your opinion, which I respect, but the decision at the end is to the founder. And this is what happened with the sale as well. Omar, while we're at it, let's make it a bit spicy.
Okay.
I want to ask you a few questions. Actually, I'm always curious that I want to know. So today, let's say you have a portfolio of companies, okay? Do you treat them all the same, or do you spot few winners and you focus your time and energy on them, or do you treat everyone the same? Because I'm sure you have probably 18, 19 companies.
It's a really good question, and one that we've actually spent a lot of time thinking about internally, and there are different schools of thought even within the venture capital ecosystem. So the nuanced answer, I think, is that it would be a mistake to simply focus on companies that seem to have strong product market fit, because the truth of the matter is that very rarely, even for companies that eventually become successful, do things always go up and to the right. The initial assumptions are almost always tossed out the window, and part of why we invest in certain entrepreneurs is because we know that they're able to navigate those kinds of strategic turns and figure out how to adapt the business to a new set of assumptions. So part of what we perceive to be our value add is to think with the founder through those early trials and to figure out exactly how the business needs to be adapted. So the short answer is no, we don't just focus on the apparent winners in the portfolio, but then there's another component here. It's important for founders to be able to have intellectually honest conversations with us, because sometimes as a founder you find yourself operating in a market that just turns out not to have been as large as you thought. Maybe the industry structure is such that it's difficult to operate and extract the margins that you were hoping for. The unit economics don't quite line up. And when it turns out that the business model, even after several attempts to optimize, several attempts to pivot, is fundamentally flawed, it's important to be able to have that conversation with your investor and together think about the path forward. And in those instances, there's no easy or right answer. For some founders, it's to do something completely different. And we've had those instances, and to the extent that there's a credible path forward, we're happy to be supportive. In other instances, maybe it's not the right thing to continue operating the business. And in that case, we try to find a soft landing for those founders. But at every point, we make it clear that it's ultimately a very personal decision for the founder as to how they want to move forward.
Actually, this brings me to the second part of the question. So I have a scenario. Let's say I'm a founder and I actually want to sell. I think now is the right time to exit. But you as a VC investor / board member think otherwise. You think that now is not the right time to sell. So what would you do in this case? How would you actually react?
So it's important to first figure out why that misalignment exists. Because usually it's a function of me as the VC believing that the company has a certain exit potential, and you as the founder wanting to sell, in my opinion, prematurely. Right? So either there's a situation where maybe the founder is burned out, and founder fatigue is a very real thing. It's incredibly emotionally draining to run a company for 5 to 10 years. It can take a toll on the best of founders and operators. And to the extent that that's the case, there are ways to tackle that. You can broaden the management team, bring in a little bit more capacity. Sometimes there are financial concerns. Sometimes the founder, has been under tremendous financial stress and needs a little bit of breathing room. So even proactively, before you get to that situation, thinking about secondaries and providing the founder with some liquidity, some breathing room, so that they can alleviate some of that burden. Those are all good ideas. So there's definitely a conversation to be had in that regard. Now, to the extent that there's a qualitative issue around whether or not the company is strategically well positioned to navigate the challenges ahead of it, and maybe now is the time to sell, that's a debate that we can have because, probably no right and wrong, different, intelligent people can disagree, and to the extent that the founder has a certain viewpoint, we're going to be very sensitive to it.
But it's a tough situation for you as a VC, right? If the founder wants to sell, you don't want to sell, and I think if the founder doesn't have the drive, I think it's a tough situation and a tough decision to take.
Especially when there's a disagreement on the true exit potential of the company. Now, having said that, we're not PEs, we're VC investors.
Yeah.
We go in and we buy a minority stake in the company, and we expect the founder to be the heart and soul of the company. So if a founder has come to a certain point where they want to exit, we have had a conversation about ways to alleviate founder fatigue or to amplify management capacity, etc. And that's still not cutting it. And it's not an issue of the company maybe being in a competitively disadvantaged position. Then there's a conversation to be had, but at the end of the day, without the founder, what is the company?
Okay, let me ask you another question. So today, usually VCs, they invest in startups because of the team, the founder. They're very keen on selecting the winning team and founder. And this is, I think, very, very subjective. So do you have like a framework to actually select the right team, the winning team, or also is it a gut feeling? So how do you go on selecting the right team?
To be honest, I think it's a little bit of both of these things. On one hand, there are hard criteria. You want to make sure that whoever you invest in has real domain expertise within that industry, understands the industry structure inside out. You also want them ideally to have some track record of managerial experience within a scale-up. They know how to take a company to a certain size, and specifically within the tech startup context. But then there's also chemistry, there's gut feeling, there's how you engage with and interact with that founder. You said it, it is a marriage. This is a relationship that can last almost a decade. And you want to make sure, both from the founder's perspective and from the investor's perspective, that you're doing business with people that you generally have good energy with, good chemistry with. Some of the nuances of this are, you want someone who's open-minded, intellectually honest, self-aware, someone who's coachable. At the end of the day, we provide input, we provide data points. It's the entrepreneur's prerogative to make the final decision as to how they want to move forward on any given topic, but you want to make sure that this is someone who's open to feedback, who's going to gather all of the different data points, synthesize, and then come to a conclusion. So there are both hard and soft considerations when it comes to betting on the right person or the right team.